Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be here and to represent nurses, a group that I've been passionate for I won't tell you how many years. But as you've heard, I come from Whangarei. This is the home of a new international award-winning cantilever bridge. It's a beautiful piece of architecture. They just didn't quite allow for the expansion of the working parts in those hot summer Northland days when it actually won't go up and down at all. Northland is also the home of one of the most world-famous artists and architects, Friedensreich Hundertwasser. He changed his name just after the war, giving himself four names, which I won't try to pronounce to you in their entirety, but I will tell you that they translate to peace, realm, rainy day, darkly multicoloured, 100 water. Now, this interesting fellow gave us a legacy, one of New Zealand's most famous toilets, which of course as a urology nurse I couldn't help but share with you. This is visited by 250,000 people per year. Thank goodness I don't do the cleaning. And this was the last project that he completed in his lifetime. But this soon-to-be constructed Hundertwasser Art Centre, his final gift to not only Whangarei, but to us as New Zealanders. It would also be the home of the Wairau Māori Art Gallery, which will be the world's first gallery dedicated to contemporary Māori art. It has certainly caused some controversy, love it or hate it. It will add to New Zealand's standing as an international art destination. And yes, it has been described as a winky-wonky building with lots of mishmash of colour. It is such a challenge in its design that a Folly has been built by the local craftspeople just to practice some of the Hundertwasser style and building technique. As in life, there too are challenges, some though they affect us alone, such as prostate cancer, we hope not to face by ourselves. It seems we diagnose a man with prostate cancer almost every day in our urology outpatient clinic. For that person, we do understand the all-consuming shock and fear that that diagnosis brings. And for them, they just want it cured. I just want it out, doc. Here too we, and by that I mean the patient, their family, and us as health professionals, face challenges and are influenced by factors both within and beyond our control with every patient. Firstly, in Northland, we face challenges of our geographical location. As you can see, Northland is a thin piece of land extending from Cape Reinga in the north to Wellsford in the south, a distance of some 360 kilometres. Or, if you were to drive it sensibly, would take you 5.5 hours from top to bottom. Of course, this doesn't take into account the tide times, and many of our patients, when they come to attend clinic, can only do so on the low tide, as those beaches become unmarked highways. Our patients often have to travel to Auckland for bone scans and other specialist radiological investigations and cancer treatments, which can, depending on the dreaded Auckland traffic and the peak hour times, add an extra 2 or 3 hours to their journey. Though a free shuttle service is offered from Whangarei, this leaves at 7 a.m. in the morning. So they can easily add a couple of hours of either early morning rising or patients having to stay overnight, both on their way down and on their return trip. We are fortunate to have Domain Lodge located opposite Auckland Hospital. This high-quality facility, run by the Cancer Society, has become home for our patients and families for up to 8 weeks as they undergo radiotherapy treatment, I should say. The demographics of our region, in that we have a significantly older population, many living in isolated areas or in rural towns, and with 1/3 of our population being Māori, gives us a further unique set of challenges. The population of Whangarei itself is around 70,000 and is our largest hospital. In order to service our widely dispersed population, we also have 4 district hospitals. We have Dargaville to the west, Rawiri in the Hokianga, Bay of Islands on the east coast, and Kaitaia in the far north. This is an indication of the Deprivation Index of the people who live in Northland. 50% of our population in the far north live in conditions that are classed as deprivation level 5, shown here in dark red, not where you really want to be. This compares to a rate of 20% in New Zealand as a whole, and these areas are our most isolated. A third of our population is classed as being socio-economically deprived. Overcrowding is a big problem in the areas of Northland, with Maoris being 4 times more likely to live in poor housing conditions. Maoris are more likely to have serious health problems such as diabetes, heart disease, strokes, renal and respiratory diseases. The proportion of Maori who smoke is twice as high as that of non-Maori portion of our population, and their life expectancy is significantly shorter. We are seeing an absolute increase in the number of people being diagnosed with cancer, and prostate is one of those. Why is it rising? Overall growth in population, an ageing population, better early detection. Though this is American data, we can postulate that the trends in New Zealand will be similar. By the year 2050, the number of people diagnosed with cancer each year is expected to double from where we were in the year 2000. Another interesting fact, according to the latest findings and forecasts of the United Nations, is the life expectancy will soar in New Zealand. With today's youngsters expected to reach the age of 92 years of age by the year 2100. The current life expectancy is 82 years. Here again, Maoris fare worse, with not only having a higher incidence of cancer being identified, but a significantly higher cancer death rate. In the case of prostate cancer, you would get the impression that Maori men are slightly luckier than non-Maori men and that they are less likely to develop prostate cancer. However, we know from a study undertaken in our region that the death rate from prostate cancer is higher in Maori men. There are various reasons as to why this is the case. There seems a definite trend towards a higher grade of disease, which is also frequently found to be more advanced than you would normally expect to see when a man presents. Their prostate cancer certainly seems to behave in a more aggressive fashion, and the reason for this phenomenon has yet not been clearly defined. Information gathered from our GP colleagues indicate that prostate cancer screening rate in Maori men using PSA and the good old digital rectal examination is lower than the non-Maori population. And the reasons for this are well recognised. With our ageing population, their ever-increasing health needs and their poor health outcomes, an unsustainable increase in the referrals into our urology service with limited resources due to inadequate funding, teamed with the projected minimum term retirement of our incumbent urologists, we in Northland are heading for a perfect storm. It saddens us that we find ourselves in a situation now where chronic or non-life-threatening conditions, which still have a significant impact on a person's quality of life, are no longer able to be seen or managed due to the limited resources within our department. Other factors that have impacted on our workload over the last 12 months have been the requirement from the Ministry of Health to see all patients referred into our department within 4 months, regardless of their presenting condition. Additional faster cancer tracking times has indicated a change in the way we clinically manage our patients. In some cases, they have had to be seen and treated within 2 months. We know that in the case of prostate cancer, for example, we can more than often take our time to ensure that our patients are able to explore all the treatment options, the long-term implications of each treatment, and the impact on their general health and their quality of life, thus attaining true, informed consent. We risk forcing our patients down certain pathways to meet timeline restrictions. Pharmac have just informed us that they would restrict our treatment options in regard to injectable agents for advanced prostate cancer from 3 drugs available to just Solidex. Abiraterone became funded for certain patients with metastatic disease. This particular medication, though, does require close monitoring for side effects such as high blood pressure, liver damage, and fluid retention. To try to reduce the impact of the impending storm and to inform our GPs of the change in treatments, etc., we decided it was an opportune time to run another of our road shows. So the uro-oncology team hit the road again, this time to inform our health professionals about the changes about to happen and what the implications this would have on the management of their patients as well. Dinner meetings were held in the 5 main centres with GPs and nurses coming from those far-reaching corners of their region. This particular evening was sponsored by Janssen, who manufacture abiraterone, and we are dependent and most grateful for the support of these companies in our educational sessions. This lays out an individual plan for each patient, outlining their treatment, the monitoring required, along with the additional advice. It includes recommendations for appropriate action in disease progression, with direct referral pathways for additional treatment, and thus optimising their management. With the patient as the focus of our service, it is agreed that the best place, if at all possible, for them to be looked after is in their primary health, with their primary health care team. One of the wonderful things about living in Northland is the opportunity to become involved in our community, and our road shows are not just limited to the health professionals alone, and we have been running these now for some 20 years. Yes, Man Cave was the theme of this particular men's health night, held in Rawene, a small vital town in the Hokianga. An additional ferry was even laid on free of charge to bring men across the harbour so that they could attend the evening and ran back when it was finished about 11 o'clock that night. And the hall was packed, as they always are. Though of course there was those health messages to deliver with BP and weight and diabetes checks to be done, this was an opportunity for men to get together. The aim was to share knowledge in a humorous way, to break down those barriers and allow them to think and talk about the health issues that affect them, their families and their communities, and to show the support of each other. And I must say, the opportunity to take part in these evenings is inspiring, not just for the participants, but also for the presenters. But just as we are undergoing our challenges, many of the same challenges are being faced in general practice. GPs are the first line in the screening process for the patients with a number of different cancers. The increase in cancer rates, the complexities of the cancers we are now seeing, the rapidly evolving treatments that are available all add to their burden. They face most of the issues in regard to long-term survivorship and are the front line for the majority of patients and their families as they approach their end of life. There is no doubt that our GPs' workload is increasing as they too grapple with this ageing population with complex physical and mental health needs. Northland is following a growing international movement to improve the way general practices look after their communities, and the collaborative work between our DHB and the PHO will see our general practices transformed into neighbourhood healthcare homes. The aim of these as next generation general practices is to provide a model of care that is patient-centred and better able to deal with patients who need urgent or unplanned care, offer proactive care for those patients with more complex needs, and have a greater focus on preventative care and improve the overall efficiency of the general practice. Some of the things the healthcare home practices will do is have GPs available to talk directly to their patients, offering both telephone and future video links. Online portals allow patients direct access to their medical records, their laboratory results, they can order prescriptions, and they can even make an appointment at a time that suits them. The expanded and new roles developed within the GP team, including participation in community multidisciplinary teams and partnership between primary and secondary health services, such as ours, has also undergone changes and development. A vital role of this service is the nursing team, which too has undergone its changes and seen roles and responsibilities develop. They're an integral part of patient care and a vital link to secondary services. Nurse-led clinics for care of patients such as those men discharged from us with prostate cancer will see them managed in a more holistic way. The aim is to streamline patient care plan and thus avoiding such things as duplication of service. This will also help avoid the tendency to focus on that single problem, such as their prostate cancer, to the detriment of their general health. All of the health needs, and for many they are very complex, will now be met. Caring for the carer. This is a new 3-year pilot program set up in just June of this year, and will see our local Manaia PHO. 75% of patients die in their own home, cared for by family or friends. Who takes care of them? This service is for carers of families or friends that face a life-limiting illness in the last year of their life. The aim is to support the carers' overall well-being, allowing them to continue their vital role. We know that carers often overlook their own general health, neglecting their social and emotional needs while caring for their loved ones. At times they become overwhelmed by the enormity of that role, and they don't know how to access the support of other services. There is no cost for this service. It is fully funded through Northland Hospice, who in turn receive funding from the government. This group work in partnership with the carer to find out what's important to them. What do they need? It may be from functional things such as electronic beds to respite care for a day or two, or even a massage. They assist the carer to navigate the pathways between the different agencies and healthcare providers as well, and link in to such things as cultural groups, churches and other voluntary organisations in their area. And they provide this ongoing support until the end of life. The Northland Cancer Society is another vital link in our community, and we're all, I'm sure, aware of the great role the society plays by supportive care they offer, the research they fund and undertake, the health promotions that we've all been part of, that Relay for Life, and I vividly remember 1 a.m. and it did pour with rain, but it was all for a great cause. Our branch of the Cancer Society also looked at the changing needs within the cancer patients within our community. The original role was helping patients to navigate through their diagnosis and treatment pathway. The service has been taken over the development of the new cancer nurse specialist and cancer nurse coordinator roles within the various tumour streams in our DHBs. So this year, they changed their focus, and it is now any person living with a cancer diagnosis. This means they provide support for cancer survivors and their families. A survivor may be disease-free, but they are never free from their disease. Now to the future. I don't know how many of you saw this news article. Medical Drones Aotearoa plans to trial delivery of medical supplies from November this year to Miti. Yes, that little isolated community located in the northern reaches of the Hokianga Harbour. Let me take you on a journey of that bottle of medication. The pharmacist in Rawene dispenses the medication and he walks it down to the local ferry. He gives it to the man in the high-vis vest who pops it in the wheelhouse and he sails it across the harbour. He then gives it to somebody on the other side who takes it to the local pub. It's put behind the bar, and when a family member's passing through, they pick it up and they take it home. This can take days. Now, it'll take a short drone ride across the harbour, delivered to the Miti marae, and picked up and delivered by a trusted community member. About 30 minutes. And it'll even be cheaper. So Northland's a beautiful part of the world. It's unique in many ways, and the provision of its healthcare service is often complex. But Northlanders are resilient and warm-hearted people, and as you can see, our healthcare providers are innovative and enthusiastic. Medical care is truly becoming holistic. It's not just about the cancer. Thank you.